This episode of Austin House Flippers is a story of manifestation. Keep watching to see the flip house that became our home.
This is part one of a two-part series, and we will share tips and tricks on how we modified this old 1970s Spanish casita into our dream modern home.
Part one of this series will talk about the guts of the house, like electrical, plumbing, and framing, and how we took this 1970s home and made it into a pretty badass house with modern features. One day in December 2019, we drove through a beautiful North Austin neighborhood that's reputable for its schools, golf, country club, and mid-century modern homes from the 1970s. Vivian said, "We need to find a house here." That same day, she found a home in the exact neighborhood that had been sitting on the market for more than 70 days and asked me to go take a look. I was able to see this house first since Viv had to work, but I instantly fell in love with it. However, the price was out of our budget given how much we would need to spend to renovate it. We negotiated back and forth for several weeks and eventually came to an agreement at $90,000 below asking price, and we took possession of it in January 2020. The original beauty was built in 1976 and had many unique features. It had stunning double entry doors, a sunken living room, a flex space disguised as a two-car garage, a closed-in vintage kitchen, Mediterranean-style exterior, circular driveway, and incredibly large and fruit-filled backyard. This home started as a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath with 3,196 square feet. By the time we were done, we had modified it into a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom house without adding any square footage. But first, permits. Getting permits is an important part of the house flipping process here in Austin, especially if you're making structural modifications like we did. You need to work with a structural engineer and an architect before applying for a permit. Tip: make sure you work with a firm that has deep knowledge in the space or you'll be wasting your time and money.
We did some major plumbing to this house, including adding a full bathroom, water heater, and kitchen in the studio space that's disguised as a garage. In its original condition, there was just a sink in the unit. In order to do this, we had to chip out the foundation to make room for the drains, including a 3-inch sewer line. Tip: always hire a licensed plumber, and if you need to cut or chip a bunch of foundation like we did, consider going to Home Depot and renting the equipment to do it yourself, because you're going to pay the hourly plumber's rate, which is expensive. You can save yourself a ton of money by doing this yourself. In the rest of the house, we simply added a second sink to the master bath and also converted a handicap accessible tub into a large walk-in shower. We also painfully ripped out a brand new second bathroom because it didn't fit the style of the home, which was unfortunate. Also, this bathroom only had a shower, and we wanted at minimum 1 soaking tub in the house. The fridge also needed plumbing in order for us to get water to it. The original fridge space was torn down, and the only reasonable spot for it was the old pantry space. Therefore, water lines had to be routed from the ceiling to get water. Major electrical work is always fun and so much easier to do when the whole home is basically torn apart. We did some awesome things like adding Cat 5 wiring to the whole home so we could have music bumping throughout the house. Additionally, we added wiring for a coffee bar, wine fridge, and LED recessed lights in every room. One of my favorite features in this house is the ambient lighting that we bought from Home Depot. They really set the mood for all occasions. We also ensure our electrician added outlets for all the toilets for bidet seats, which, by the way, provided to be quite useful given the toilet paper apocalypse at the beginning of the pandemic. Lastly, the studio needed heating and cooling, so we installed a mini split so that the unit could be individually controlled. Tip: if you're getting higher-end appliances, especially an induction stove, ensure that a licensed electrician reviews all the electrical specifications. Framing was a major part of this project as we took down 2 major walls and enclosed the kitchen. We added 4 14-inch LVL beams, 1 8x8 column, and 2 12-inch LVLs across the top of the kitchen. Tip: when removing any major wall, you must hire a structural engineer. Believe it or not, they can be pretty affordable. Next, we had a sunken living room, aka tripping hazard, to deal with.
And just like we always say, if it can be solved with money, it's not a problem.
Viv and I really wanted to have 1 level floor, so we raised it. In order to do this, we installed 2x6s that had to be ripped at different depths as the floor was not exactly even. We installed the stringers with Simpson strong ties and concrete anchors to ensure the flooring doesn't move. Lastly, we laid subfloors on top. Tip: always glue your subfloors to the stringers so that they don't squeak or come loose in the future.
I'd have to admit, Viv and I make a great team. This was indeed the largest project for us to date, and we picked our lane and stayed in it. I think the couples who work together will have a better chance of success if they stick to this one rule. It certainly helped us. I concentrated on the execution of the project, like plumbing, electrical, compliance, and city inspections, while she planned and designed the home, from layout modifications to kitchen reconfiguration, all the design finishes and furnishings. Hey everyone, this is James from Austin House Flippers. Thanks for watching this episode. If you like what you see and want to see more content,
Click and subscribe now so you don't miss part 2, where Vivian will tell you how we modified the layout, picked the finishes, and furnished the space.